Shalom, Avi, Chag Sameach. So good seeing you.
It's great seeing you.
What brings you out here tonight?
Listen, we are here with a very special friend of both of ours who not only is a person who I know personally, and I think you'd agree, look up to in terms of using her mind and her common sense on all issues having to do with what we're living through in today's reality, but a proud Jew who has joined us here living in the land of Israel, in the Jewish homeland, which is wonderful.
Right, and we were talking about this earlier in the evening, and I was telling you about how it's really quite remarkable how that we're now in a space where it's not even non-religious, it's become anti-religious in some parts of Israel, and this has become the media narrative. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on what's happening currently in a nutshell?
So, in a nutshell, 2 points. Point number one, it's a tiny, tiny minority of this anti-Jewish identity within, unfortunately, some fellow Jews, but it doesn't bother me. I'm actually, as I was telling you before, I'm happy that it's come out to the fore because it's always existed.
Yeah.
It's existed throughout Jewish history. Unfortunately, the Jewish people, as anyone who understands history, knows history, we're the most persecuted people of all times, thousands of years, exile, persecution, no matter where we are. And unfortunately, in every single story, it's our own fellow Jews who end up helping our enemies. So it's not something new. It's part of our history. It's part of our reality. And unfortunately, I mean, not unfortunately, but I believe it's good that it's come out to the fore, that it exists even in today's time, because everyone's been under the false understanding that it's gone. But no, it exists today, but still it's a tiny, tiny minority. And as you know, and as I know, the media like to blow up everything, and especially the progressive, really regressive media, that they're agenda-driven, very much against God, against the presence of God. The Jewish people are a representation of God in the world. So they're totally on board in making a huge story out of a seriously tiny, tiny minority of Jews here in Israel, because the majority of the Jewish people here in Israel, regardless of religious level, and including most of the people who live non-religious lives on a daily basis, they have a strong Jewish identity, want to connect with their ancestral national heritage in some way, shape, or form, even if not on the daily level like you or I might be doing. So it's something we're gonna. It's very disappointing. It's very saddening, but I believe it is a positive development that's come to the fore, that finally the rest of us can see it exists, so we can deal with, people can wake up to its reality, and we're going to come out of this stronger and more united than before.
Now, if I'm understanding this correctly, what you're suggesting is that what's happening right now in the geopolitical climate, particularly in Israel, this is posing an existential crisis within ourselves. Is that what within Jewish people's identities? Is that what you're suggesting, that they need to take a closer look at this, their own inner hatred of themselves? Is that what it is?
I wouldn't say it's an existential hatred, and I would connect it with the global, the global processes taking place across the Western
spiritual
world.
battle.
It's totally a spiritual battle. Everything we're experiencing today is a spiritual battle. It's against the people who believe in God, regardless of what religion they live their lives under, whatever banner they go to, what church, mosque, whatever spirituality they have. Everything today is about replacing God with mankind. What's AI? Right? AI is all about mankind replacing God. There is no need for a God, for a faith. Man, science, man's on top of everything. It's all about man replacing God. We are living, and for anyone who has some basic knowledge of the Bible, today we are leaving our modern Tower of Babel, Tower of Babel. I don't know how to say it in English. Tower of Babel.
Babylonian.
Not Babylonian, but
Babel.
the Babel, the Tower of Babel struggle, because the Tower of Babel, it's in Genesis. It's the story of mankind building a tower up to the sky to basically say mankind is above God or higher than God. There is no place of God in humanity, and in the end, God used his special powers and had them dispersed, had them stop being able to communicate with one another. God won. So the bottom line is today's culture war is really a spiritual war, trying to get rid of God, have mankind replace God, even AI replace God. But in the end, I just look at Genesis and go, no, you can't choose God to be your enemy. God's going to win. It's a losing battle. So no matter how bad things look, I know we're going to come. Those who believe in God and stick with our truth and stick with our God-given common sense, no matter how hard the battle is, and it is hard and it's going to get harder, we're going to win. So stick with your guns, stick with your faith, strengthen your faith, we're going to come out on top.
Amen. Now, tell me, we met up last summer, and it was a different type of period right now. Are Israelis waking up? You're out on the streets. You've got the pulse of Israel, pun intended, right? What is the pulse of Israel? Are Israelis who, elected for the shots, elected for the boosters, are they waking up? Are they waking up to this tyranny that's happening in their country and globally?
So the quick answer is yes and no. All right, meaning yes, many people have woken up that the shots are they're not going to be. Most Israelis or many Israelis will not be going back to the shots.
Right.
They realized that it was insane. They realized the lockdowns were insane. The shots didn't protect us. It doesn't stop transfer of the disease. It doesn't stop being able to get sick. That people have internalized. Has everyone of that camp woken up and realized that, oh my God, this is part of some global, really evil that's taking place about controlling humanity? I wouldn't say most Israelis have gone to that level.
Are more people waking up in your experience?
So, more people are waking up to specifically the insanity and the wrongness of the shot and the lockdowns, and they wouldn't go there. Meaning, if the Israeli government, if there's a global agenda again to do lockdowns and shots, the Israeli government would have a very hard time imposing it because there would be a substantial population that would stand up to it and not comply, to make it very hard for the government to enforce mandatory lockdowns, mandatory shots. To say that those same people, or a majority of those same people, have woken up to the fact that it's connected to more of a global agenda to control humanity, I wouldn't make that jump.
Wow. Where can we find you, Avi?
You can find me on pulseofisrael.com for my daily video, vlog, or podcast about Israel, the freedom-loving world, and the Jewish people. Obviously, what people do not get from the mainstream media.
Well, we appreciate everything that you do. I appreciate everything that you do. And keep on doing it with blessing.
Curtis, it is a pleasure talking to you.
Always.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, my pleasure.
And here in the holy city of Jerusalem, the best.
The best. Thank you. And don't forget to question everything.